already half of the year. We're already on the 6th month out of 12. And ang daming nangyari, parang ang isang buong year na yung lumipas. But still, we're all here and we're excited to get to know you, and we'd love for you to hear our topic or our theme for this month's webinar. So again, good afternoon, everyone. Hello, Rebecca. Hello, Angelo. We also have Alan joining in from Bataan Peninsula State University. We also have our new usuals. I think SB More group of companies has been attending our sessions this year. We have Mia, we have a representative from Lotus Development. Also have Dennis from Pharma Nutria Manila. We have Roseby from Rizal. We also have Virginia from Cebu. We also have Carmina from Zamboanga. So we're seeing representatives across different industries. We also have a representative from the Academe, from the Ocampo Memorial College, Manila. Good afternoon, Benjamin. So we're seeing a lot of names, a lot of new names this afternoon. And I am just curious, who here is attending the P-webinars for the first time? Can you type in one? Yeah, we have Jani again joining us from Mental Health Hour Manila. So I can see a couple of attendees joining us for the first time. So welcome to our P-webinars. So we call our attendees positive leaders. So thank you for joining us this afternoon. And kasama na kayo, you are all positive leaders now. So we're just waiting for some of our participants to go in. If you have friends or if you have colleagues who you think will benefit from our theme and topics this month, tell them that the Zoom room is open and that we are about to start in a few minutes. We also have representatives coming from General Santos City. Anna is joining from Loyola Heights. We also have representatives from the government. So meron tayong from DOLE. So for those who are still or who just joined or entered our Zoom room, please let us know where you are calling from or the organization you are representing this afternoon. And yes, Kathy is also sharing a quick survey before we start. We hope you get to answer it first. So I'll give you 2 minutes to answer the survey if you haven't yet. So you can start at 3:05. Again, if you still have friends or colleagues who you think would enjoy our session, please tell them that the Zoom room is open. We're also streaming this over on YouTube. So if you have internet problems or in the event that you want to review the session today, please feel free to visit our YouTube channel. Thank you for answering the survey for those who are done. And can you give us a thumbs up if you have answered the survey we shared in our chat box? I can see 3, I can see 8, 12, 15. One last reminders for those who have just joined us, we are sharing a quick survey before we start the webinar. So just click on the link that Kathy shared in our chat. I'll give you a few more minutes, and once you're done, kindly give us a thumbs up. I'm seeing more thumbs up. We have one more minute before we officially start. Once more, for those who have just joined, we are sharing a quick survey link in the chat box. Kindly click on the link and answer the survey before we start at 3:05. It's already 3:05. Can I get a heart reaction if you are ready to start our webinar this afternoon? Okay, again, welcome everyone to our June free webinar or P-webinar series, which has the theme Under Pressure, Leading and Working Through Uncertainty. And just to do a quick check-in, dahil matunog na matunog ang leadership, 'di ba? Palagi nating naririnig ngayon news about good and bad leaders. We are curious. If you were to use one word, what makes someone a great leader? Can you identify what that word is and share it to us on Menti? Share it with us on Mentimeter. So you can just scan the QR code you can see on the screen, or you can quickly click on the link that Kathy shared in our chat box. So in one word, what makes someone a great leader? And if you're unable to join on Menti, please feel free to put your answers in the chat box and we are also going to read them out. Ang bilis mo nga mag-type po, meron ng team worker, good influencer, competent, responsible, has empathy, servant leader. So tingnan natin, let's go over to Menti and let's see what makes someone a great leader for our positive leaders attending this afternoon. So again, I will not be able to trace back kanino yung mga responses, but using this word cloud, the more you put in a word, yun yung pinakamalaking font size na lalabas dito sa ating word cloud. So what I can see is it's someone who has empathy, they are accountable, they are listeners, they're compassionate, considerate, tactful. Lumalabas din yung servant leader dun sa periphery, visionary, has a good mindset, accountability, they're open-minded, they're very supportive, and nakikita ko yung role model, so they walk the talk, no? So meron ding listener, supportive, and a good listener. Okay, so keep your answers coming in. We love reading these answers. And I'm pretty sure lahat tayo naghahanap ng leader with all of these. Syempre, in reality, hindi naman nila pwede makuha lahat to, di ba? Pero at least siguro 2 to 3 important skills or traits, sana we can find a leader like that. Bakit may 6, 7? Anong ibig sabihin nun? May humor din yung leader. Important rin naman, di ba? Para it helps us feel at ease if they can also inject humor. Kung yun yung ibig sabihin ng 6, 7 dito. So thank you so much for joining us in our check-in because bakit ba yun yung tanong namin? So we asked that because today we are going to talk about the human side of leadership, supporting teams during very uncertain times. Sabi nga nila, these days we are actually experiencing what we call a polycrisis. Okay? Parang patong-patong yung mga crisis na nararamdaman natin left and right, both globally and locally. And our leaders are left to fend for themselves and of course take care of their teams. And this afternoon, that's what we're going to figure out. How do we support teams and ourselves during these uncertain times? So for those of you joining us for the first time today, I'm Gabby Liamzon, and I am the Learning Operations and Design Supervisor of Positive Workplaces. And with me this afternoon, ensuring that our back end is well supported, we have Kathy Rivera, our Learning and Development Associate. So if you have any questions, feel free to send a message to Kathy in our chat box. So again, we're Positive Workplaces, and our mission is to co-create cultures that enhance the well-being of the Filipino workforce. And we're able to do that through what we call the positivity ripples. And we believe that it really starts with yourself. So thank you, positive leaders, for investing your time in learning these skills so that you can apply it in yourself. And as you go along your leadership journey, you can also share it with the people you work with, your immediate teams, and ultimately create those cultures so you can also have what we call a positive workplace. So just a few quick reminders. We hope that you are, or you have another device ready, or just be ready to go to another link because we're using Mentimeter throughout this session. If you have a pen and paper ready, please have them by your side, or kung anumang digital note-taking tool yung ginagamit nyo. And we highly encourage engagement, but please be respectful in our chat box. We hope that you can treat it as a learning tool. We allow you to express your thoughts, your insights, and opinions about the topic, but we hope that you can refrain from sharing pictures or comments or links that are not related to our discussion. And we believe that we learn best when we ask questions. So we are also sharing with you the link to our Pigeonhole. If at any point of the session, or even as early as now, kung may mga questions na kayo, please feel free to put them in and keep this link open so that during the discussion, pag may naisip kayong itanong sa ating subject matter expert, you are already in that pigeonhole. You can type it in and mauuna siyang lumabas later on. And when you use Pigeonhole, pag nakarelate kayo dun sa isang question and gusto nyong matanong talaga siya or ma-bump up siya, you can also vote for that question so that it will appear on top of our page. Okay? If you can follow so far, can you type in 2 in our chat box? Okay, I know that's already a handful of reminders, and don't worry, ito na yung last. I know that most of you here are also needing a certificate or something to support or evidence para mapakita na you attended this specific webinar. So at the end of the session, we are going to give an evaluation form which you need to answer so that you will receive your certificate right after answering the evaluation form. So just check 10, okay? Yung title, yung email, and yung name na ilalagay nyo doon sa ating form, because anything you put in the form, doon siya ipapadala and yun ang magre-reflect sa certificate ninyo. If you have any concerns about evaluations or certificates, you may email us at engage@positiveworkplaces.org, and we will be entertaining your inquiries up to 1 week after the event. So make sure to check if you already received your certificate, and if hindi pa, please give it at least 1 to 2 days for it to process, especially we're already 400 in the room. Okay, so the system might experience some bugs later when sending the certificates, and we need to double check, okay, kung sino yung mga hindi na-sendan. So if after 2 days hindi nyo pa rin siya nare-receive, kindly let us know through engage@positiveworkplaces.org so that we can process it for you. Okay, so if wala na tayong questions, I think we can already proceed with our webinar today. Can I get a thumbs up if you are ready? Yan, nahanap ko ang ating, okay, we have 24. We also have thumbs up coming in sa ating chat box. Okay, so this month we are focusing on under pressure, leading and working through uncertainty. I'm pretty sure a lot of us are experiencing different changes in the workplace, And a lot of us are under pressure, not only to perform, but to take care of our own well being as well. That's why we've invited two experts in their fields to share with us what practices we can take so that we can lead and work through uncertainty and at the same time maintain our well being while doing so. So this afternoon, we are going to talk about the human side of leadership supporting teams during uncertain times. Because leadership today is happening against the backdrop of a poly crisis. It's a time when economic, organizational, and human challenges intersect. And as change accelerates and demands continue to grow, leaders are expected to guide teams through uncertainty while maintaining both performance and well-being, which may be a challenge. So the question is no longer whether leaders can adapt, but how can we do it sustainably and, of course, humanely. And this afternoon, we're happy to have Dr. Camille Teresi Usay, registered psychologist, the managing director of Renew Health Philippines Incorporated. Let us all welcome Doc Camille this afternoon. Hi, Doc Camille.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, Gabby and Kathy. Thank you for having me today.
Yes, we're so happy to have you this afternoon.
All right, I think there are like 420
Yes.
people in our Zoom, no?
Yes, 420.
Sige, let me just share my screen. Ayan, nakikita na ba?
Yes.
Okay. Sige. So, thanks everyone, especially to those who did the survey, no? We'll see later ano yung results ng survey kasi part din siya ng ating session for today. And just a reminder, if you have another device or if you can click on the link, we will have a lot of activities then for today, no? Para mas practical yung nakukuha din natin na learnings for today. May mga frameworks at mga activities na gagawin. So if you can, be ready to check the chat box or the comment section, no, for the links to our activities. So let's start our session for today. So the topic is about supporting teams during uncertain times. And Gabby has clearly set the tone, no, kung bakit nga ba natin ginagawa din ito, no. So let me know if you can see my screen. Just do a thumbs up, no, so I know tama din yung screen na nasa-share. Okay. Alright. Sige. Nakikita ba? Okay, dokes. So, I wanted to check, no? Syempre, nandito tayo ngayon and all 400 of you are here asking, bakit kaya mahalaga to? And I'm sure alam niyo na mahalaga naman talaga yung leadership, especially in times like these, no? And why does this matter to begin with? Okay, let me just check. Do you still see my screen? Okay. So, syempre, uncertainty, parang changes how people think, feel, communicate, as well as perform. So, if there are changes in the world, in our workplace, in our personal lives, naapektuhan talaga yung pag-iisip natin, yung pakiramdam natin, at kung paano tayo nagpo-perform or behave, no? So when the future feels unclear or you know you don't see a clear future because of all the issues, the problems, the challenges, pressure arises, attention narrows to what is the priority at the moment, right? And even strong teams can become reactive and disconnected and even exhausted. No? So in moments like these, supporting teams is not just a well-being issue. It is a leadership, culture, and a performance issue. All right. And the question is not whether uncertainty will affect your people or our people. It will, obviously. No, all challenges and uncertainties affect people. And the real question is whether we respond in ways that create more strain, for our team or for our employees, or more stability? So why is this webinar important, or why is this topic important for us to know, no? Even if we are leaders or we are employees, mahalaga siya kasi economic uncertainty affects psychological well-being, no? And the work-related stress has become more common recently, especially after COVID-19, no? And ngayon, ang dami wars, no? Politics, etc. So because of the financial, not only financial uncertainty, but yung ripple effect ba, it can affect the psychological well-being of our employees. And if we are looking at metrics, and if you are in a leadership position or in a business leadership position, globally, 12 billion working days are lost annually due to depression and anxiety. That and leads to $1 trillion lost in productivity per year. So this is based on a global study, and I'm parang wala pa sa Pilipinas kung magkano yung loss, no? Maybe in other companies, they have done research on it. But as you can see, there are a lot of working days lost due to mental health issues. It may not be depression, it may not be a disorder per se, but fatigue, burnout, stress can lead to loss of working days and loss of productivity and loss of earnings for a business. Okay? So, bakit mahalaga? Again, because uncertainty is mentally demanding. People spend more energy anticipating problems, reading signals, and trying to regain control of their lives than actually focusing in their work sometimes, no? And it changes behavior. And teams may become quieter, less responsive, more defensive, more conflict prone, and may become overly dependent on their leaders for reassurance. And burnout risk increases if there is more uncertainty in the world, no? And when high demands are paired with low clarity, mas nababurn out yung ating mga employees. And culture gets tested during difficult times, especially gipit na gipit, nag-change na yung rules dahil marami ng challenges din na face yung company or yung business, no? And the habits a team has falls back on under pressure to reveal kung ano talaga yung culture ng isang organization. And the support is strategic. So teams that feel psychologically safer and better supported are more likely to adapt and collaborate and sustain their own performance, no? So kailangan nakatuon tayo sa pansin na how does the uncertain times or what's happening in the world affect our teams? May changes ba, etc. Okay. So again, as I mentioned, we have a lot of polls, activities for today. So if you can go or scan this QR code or see in the chat box a link going to Mentimeter, or go to menti.com and type in the code 34644195. This question will come out, I hope, no. So let me just share that question with you. And I hope you can see it. Ayan. All right. So I think, just let me know if you can see it in the screen. Okay. So when uncertainty rises in a team, what usually changes first? No, is it communication, energy, trust, workload? You can rank this, no? Ano yung top, no? Ano yung nanonotice ninyo, nag-iiba sa inyong team or sa inyong organization kapag may uncertainty? Okay? So at the top right now is communication, and then trust and energy, medyo nagfa-fight for number 2. And then workload is at a steady number 4. All right. So just keep it coming. Around 60 people have responded. The others can still participate, no? Again, you can scan the QR code with your cell phone if you are in a laptop device, or you can go to menti.com. or the chat box or the link in the chat box. So again, kapag uncertain, no, if you face the uncertainties, yung usually daw na nag-change first, according to our 450 participants in Zoom, it's communication. And then you will feel it in the energy of the team. And then trust, and then workload. So it means that workload still remains the same despite uncertainties, despite challenges faced. Um, but the communication changes, the energy of the room changes, the energy of the team changes, and trust is affected. All right. Okay. So thank you so much for those who participated in that poll, no? And nakikita natin, iba-iba din, no? Usually top talaga yung communication. And then for some, it might be the energy and then the trust issues come in, no? It depends on the organization. All right. So, whoopsie. So before asking people to cope better, no, uh, we should ask what pressures, um, what expectations, and what conditions are they working under? Okay? Lalo na kapag kayo ay leader at nandito kayo or manager at nandito kayo ngayon sa ating webinar, ito yung mahalagang tanungin din, no? Bago asking your employees or your team for, to be more resilient kasi uncertain yung times, no? We should ask, what are the pressures, expectations, and conditions they are working under? Is it enabling for them to work, no? Lalo na kapag uncertain, lalo na kapag maraming challenges outside the workplace, no? Ang nafe-face nila. So, you answered a survey earlier on workplace mental health assessment. Bakit natin or bakit pinasagot yun? Just to check in, it's also a temperature check for your own organization where you work, or if you are a leader, how does my organization look like? Na? So whatever you answered there, it's like a checklist. Do I have a good prevention program, mental health prevention program? Do we have screening in place in our workplace, etc.? So I'll just show the results of the survey earlier, no? So we ask, ano yung environment na where our employees are situated in? Are they supported when it comes to mental health? Are they supported when it comes to their well-being? So our survey asks about provisions of prevention initiatives or programs, right? Mental health prevention programs. So do you have assessment, or is there an assessment of workplace risks to mental health? Does your workplace eliminate workplace risk to mental health? And has does your workplace have programs to prevent mental health problems and provides mental health screening? So these were the questions that you answered. And a lot of you answered na yes, good, working well. Meron naman, no? May mental health screening, may mga programs to prevent mental health problems. And this is not new, no? We did a study before in schools naman, for schools having provisions for mental health programs. And sa prevention, hindi tayo nagkukulang sa prevention. No? So, good to the purple line is parang fair, better, no? And then I think the yellow or the other line, parang wala pang may nag-answer na the best, no? And then we also ask about if your organization protects and promotes mental health. What does that mean? Do managers provide trainings on mental health, or managers have trainings on mental health? Does your organization provide mental health literacy and awareness, reduce stigma and discrimination, promotes help seeking? So again, this is still prevention and advocacy. And a lot of you answered good and is working well, no? And marami din nag-answer ng excellent. So purple pala is excellent, okay? And marami din nagsabi, fair, it's in place, but it needs improvement, okay? Now, when it comes to supporting people with mental health problems, does your organization have a referral protocol? Does your organization provide support for those with mental health problems like counseling? Does your organization provide reasonable accommodations with those who have mental health issues, no? So yung nasagot nyo dito ay good, working well, merong excellent, meron ding fair. Okay? And then when it comes to creating an enabling environment, a lot of you answered din naman na your organization is excellent, no, in creating an enabling environment, has protocols, evaluates the programs, and very good siya. Okay? So a lot of you, all 400 or siguro mga 150 yung nag-answer nito kanina, no? You're lucky to have these in place because a similar survey was also conducted in different organizations and hindi good and excellent yung mga sagot. Okay? So if you answered a good and excellent answer in the survey, it means that your organization has those mental health programs and provisions in place. But if it's fair or poor or even none, something to think about na baka kailangan may mental health policy programs and services yung organization ninyo. Okay? So as I mentioned, check the environment and not just the employee. So as a leader, you need to check is the environment that we currently have at work, is the culture, no, enabling. You can ask, are priorities clear or consistently shifting? Are teams expected to do more with less without trade-offs, even if uncertain yung times? Are decisions being communicated clearly and consistently? Are people being given enough control over how they work, right? And is workload sustainable or are unsustainable patterns being normalized? So as leaders, you need to ask yourselves these questions to check in with the current environment, given the uncertain times. No? Hindi lang yung employee. The fourth question is, are the people or your employees being given enough control over how they work? Because kapag uncertain times, there is a lack of control in their external world, right? The war, gas prices, whatever happening in our country or other countries, no, natural disasters, ang daming uncontrollable factors. And the antidote there is to gain some kind of control for yourself. So usually it's what you do in your spare time, no, your hobbies, or how you do your work. Okay? Or even going to work, that is a protective factor for people, lalo na kapag uncertain yung times. Okay? So as a leader, ask these questions. Okay? And these are the common organizational pressure points during uncertainty. So check in on yourself as a leader if I also show these pressure points, no, or if you show these pressure points. Unclear direction can be a pressure point. If hindi clear kung ano yung goal, ano yung objective ng team, ng organization, if the KPIs are not, if pabago-bago, no? Unclear direction can be a pressure point during uncertainty. Frequent change without enough explanation. If pabago-bago yung processes, paiba-iba yung proseso, paiba-iba yung line of communication, paiba-iba yung kwento. So this can be a pressure point as well. Decision bottlenecks, if you can't come up with a decision, if unclear pa yung decision or nagtatalunan pa sila sa decision, it can also be a pressure point. Emotional contagion from senior leadership, overwork being mistaken for commitment, poor boundaries in hybrid or remote work, no? So lunch break pero kailangan mag-meeting kasi work from home naman, you can take daw lunch anytime, no? And lack of mental health policy or practical support pathways. So these are pressure points in an organization that can affect your employee and the performance of an employee. So if you are in an organization and you answered in the survey na parang, fair to wala, none to fair yung answer ko dito, it might be something to look into, that you might need a mental health policy in place and practical support pathways for your employees, lalo na sa panahon, no, na very uncertain ang mga nangyayari. Okay, so what I can offer to our leaders right now or who are watching this webinar is, this is a simple organization check-in framework that you can do. Madali lang siya na ma-remember, di ba? Kasi 4 C's lang siya. Clarity, capacity, communication, and care. All right. So these are the questions or simple check-in questions that you can ask, no, as a leader. First is clarity. Do people know what matters most right now? No? Do they know ano ba yung priority mo as a leader for the team or mo as a leader for the organization? Capacity. Do they realistically have the time, energy, and resources? No? Do they have the capacity mentally to do this, especially right now? No? Ano dapat yung ipaprioritize o uunahin? Communication. Are the messages timely, honest, and consistent? Okay, very, very important. So as you mentioned kanina sa Mentimeter, na first na nag-iiba kapag uncertain ang times ay communication. So napakahalaga nito. Are the messages timely, honest, and consistent? Care, our well-being and mental health being supported in practice, not just principle, not just haka-haka or like kwentuhan lang, no? Is it supported in practically? Are there programs in place? Okay? So now, time to think, no? Rate your organization, like in your head, or if you have a notebook, or if you have a notepad in your cell phone, rate your organization from 1 to 5 on each of the 4 areas. So if you have a pen and paper, or if you have your phone, or kahit sa, think about it. In the 4 C's, rate your organization from 1 to 5 on each of the 4 areas. 5 being the highest, meaning merong good communication in my organization, no? Clear yung boss ko sa kung ano yung priority namin, or clear din ako as a leader, no? Realistically, my energy, my time, my resources, or merong provisions, mental health provisions in place. So, for each C, dapat may rating kayo 1 to 5. And look at that rating, no? Ano yung strongest? Which of the 4 C's yung strongest sa team ninyo? Paki-circlean, no? And which of the 4 C's yung, medyo mababa yung rate ko dito? Paki-underline, no? So, and then you can rank it from 1 to 4 if you want. So again, let's go to Mentimeter. Join us in Menti, code 34644195. Which of these are the strongest? Okay. In your team right now, and which of it needs the most attention? Okay. Again, you can scan the QR code, or I think there's a link in the chat box. Which of these are the strongest in your team right now? Clear. Clear ba to? Interesting. Malakas daw yung communication sa organization. And my mental health provisions, no? Practical ways to support the employees. Pero, not so clear yung direction. Hindi clear. No? Capacity-wise, people are still there mentally, no? Kaya pa naman nila. All right. So for this group of 400 plus participants in our webinar today, the strongest in their team na Cs, no, is really communication, clear and honest yung communication in their organization. May capacity, may care, may mental health provisions, though clarity, not so sure. Yung direction of the team, priorities of the team, priorities of the organization, and direction of the organization is not so clear. So for the leaders who are here with us today, something to think about, no? Now, how do you make your priorities and direction and objectives and goals clear to your employees? And for the employees who are here with us today, how can you ask your leaders for more clarity? If the communication is high, is strong, how do you communicate this with your leaders, no? Na kailangan to be more clear. Yan. So, interesting then yung result of that Mentimeter. Okay? So, because once we understand the system, the next question becomes, what is the role of leaders inside the system? So we are going from macro to micro. We're seeing if our environment in itself supports us to be more stable when it comes to when we are facing uncertain times. And then the next question is, what is the role of leaders inside the system? Okay? So these are key leadership practices that can be done. No? If you are a leader, one is to create clarity where you can. Where is the direction, or where are we heading? What is our goal for this month, this quarter, this year? Communicate clearly or communicate early, honestly, and consistently. Normalize conversations about pressure. No? Protect focus and energy. Protect yung focus ng team and energy of the team. Model sustainable behavior and build psychological safety. So I think Gabby was saying kanina na parang, we do this by modeling, no? We need, as leaders, they need to also walk the talk, right? Marami din tayong nakikita na sometimes na mas marami pang nagagawa yung mga employees sometimes kaysa sa leaders. That's why if you are in a leadership position, syempre, you need to model sustainable behavior. Okay? So during uncertain times, people do not need perfect leaders. They need steady, honest, and human leaders. Okay? First is to create clarity when you can. So explain what is known, what is unknown, and what is still being decided for your team or your organization. Repeat priorities often for the team, because if you know your why, or if people know why they are doing things, mas naintindihan nila yung role nila, no, in the bigger picture. Define what success looks like in the current season. Now, what does that look like for this quarter? What does that look like for this year? And be explicit about what can wait. Na hindi naman siya kailangan gawin na ngayon. Okay? So as a leader, you need to say na I may not be able to remove all uncertainties, but I can reduce the confusion in my team. Okay? So, very appropriate ito. Based dun sa survey ninyo, mababa yung clarity out of the other C's, no? So, yun yung kailangan tuunan ng pansin o kailangan i-improve or i-strengthen. So, dito, as a leader, the only way to create clarity is for you as a leader to explain, no? Second is to communicate early, honestly, and consistently. Share updates before rumors spread. Acknowledge challenges without dramatizing them. avoid false reassurance and say, I don't know yet when needed. So you don't need to have all the answers. It's important to know and acknowledge that you don't know, no? And commit to a follow-up. How can you do that? No, oh, I don't know it yet. I'll try to look into it. And then you actually look into it and then follow up kung ano yung nalaman mo, no? People can handle hard news better than unclear news, okay? As we all say, people are resilient, especially Filipinos, no? But syempre, they need to have a clearer picture. So kailangan you need to share updates. Third is to normalize conversations about pressure. Because if the times are uncertain, I'm sure pressure is there. And ask not just, how is the work going? Kamusta na yung trabaho mo? Kamusta yung submission mo dito? No? But how are you managing the pressure? No? How do you manage the pressure? How are you now na alam ko maraming deliverables na kailangan dalhin? Kamusta ka naman? Paano mo siya minamanage? Paano ka nagko-cope? So, make check-ins a regular habit as a leader and not a crisis response. Huwag ka lang mag-check-in kapag may crisis. No? Notice changes in energy, behavior, and engagement. So, as a leader, notice that. But also for those who are employees and who are here today, right? Make sure to ask for check-ins or to be open na kung kakamustahin ka, be open to it, right? And notice if your energy changes as an employee. And respond with support and not judgment. Okay? Fourth is to protect the focus and energy of your team. Simplify the priorities. So if you are a team member, are the priorities clear and simplified? Now, if not, maybe you can ask for more, a simpler or simplified priority for the team. Reduce unnecessary meetings as a leader. No, it can be an email or a check-in sa Viber group or sa Teams. Challenge urgency culture. What does this mean? I don't know if it's a Filipino thing or a Western thing. Maybe we got it from our Western counterparts. But we have the sense of urgency always. Kahit may mga tao na kahit hindi siya priority or hindi siya urgent, nagiging priority siya. No? So again, challenge the urgency culture. Check in. Is it urgent? Is it a priority? Is it due soon? What is the urgency level for this? When is it due? Diba? Help teams make trade-offs and protect breaks, boundaries, and recovery time. As a leader, you need to really protect the energy of your employees. Okay? Make sure that breaks are sacred, they take it. Boundaries are important, no? And recovery time is important. Gone are the days na dapat dire-diretso magtrabaho, no? Marami tayong news na nakukuha that it affects the health of the person, no? 5, model sustainable behavior. Okay? How? Okay. So if leaders send late night messages, palagi, praise people if they do overtime and overwork themselves, never pause and appear endlessly available for everyone, then the team learns that survival requires self-sacrifice. No? Instead, as a leader, model realistic boundaries, asking for help. So if ikaw as a leader, hindi mo din alam ano yung sagot dito, it's okay to ask for help, no? Or to ask for collaboration with someone who can help. Taking breaks, thoughtful pacing, of work, calm decision making. Hindi yung urgency culture, no? So as a leader, your employees and teammates see you, how you do things, how you also work. And it's very important that you model the sustainable behavior that you want for your team. Okay? And lastly, build psychological safety. And this is what you can ask now when it comes to building psychological safety in your team. What are we not seeing? Ano yung hindi natin nakikita? Parang may nag-iba, parang yung energy nag-iba, although same pa rin yung workload, no? Where are people stuck? Saan sila nahirapan? What feels unclear right now? Saan yung hindi masyadong nagigets o hindi klaro sa team ko? What is one thing we should stop doing because it's affecting everyone? So these are some questions that you can ask yourself as a leader to build psychological safety. No? And to build it, you need to become curious about your own team, about what's happening, about the changes. You need to observe, no? Take a pause and observe, feel the energy, feel the shift, and ask, what am I not seeing here? What is happening to my team? How can I make it better? No? And even ask them, communicate with them. Have an open communication line. All right? So, leadership matters deeply, but leaders are not the whole answer. Okay? Again, if you are a leader, hindi lang nakasalalay sa'yo para maging mas mag-perform yung team. No? People also need practical ways to protect their own mental health in the middle of real demands. Okay? But let's do a pressure audit for the leaders here. If you are a leader, let's do a quick pressure audit. What is one pressure your team cannot avoid right now? These are questions that you can ask. What is one pressure your team should not have to carry right now? What is one thing a leader could remove, clarify, or simplify for the month? So something to ask yourself as leaders. Okay, so I will give you a moment to pause on this, but also as an employee, what are the pressures that you are facing right now that you cannot really avoid? What is one pressure your team should not have to carry, you think, no? Na parang ngayon, hindi naman to kailangan. And what is one thing kailangan tanggalin ng leadership ninyo or leader mo, no? What is one thing na kailangan tanggalin, i-clarify, i-simplify sa month na ito. So something to think about. Okay? So maraming questions tayo, maraming reflection questions na binato sa inyo. Kasi hindi ito, parang these questions might be rarely asked, no, in the organization. And these are important questions, reflection questions, so that we can also check in with the systems that are in place as leaders. All right? So again, as I mentioned kanina, important yung leadership pero hindi whole answer yung leaders kasi mas marami pa naman yung employees natin. No? And people also need to protect their own mental health, especially sa demands ng buhay and given the uncertainty that we face. So another question, like for the employees here, how do you stay mentally healthy during uncertain times? So again, let's listen to those who are here today, 500 of you, 500 na, no? For the employees, how do you stay mentally healthy during uncertain times? You can type in the chat box or put in Mentimeter again. There's the link in the chat box. But if you cannot click on the link, type in the chat box. Let's see. How do you mentally stay healthy during uncertain times? So, people are answering self-awareness, focusing on the job to be completed, file wellness leave for real, no? Take a break, unwind from time to time. Marami nagsabi take a break. Work-life balance. How do you do a work-life balance, no? Coffeeing mechanisms. Focus lang sa goal, take a rest, walking, taking a pause, travel, take a break, pray to God, walking. Ayan. So maraming pwedeng gawin to stay mentally healthy during uncertain times. Exercising, working out, taking a break, relaxation techniques. May nagsabi na mag-resign, no? So baka kailangan yon yung survey kanina. Tingnan mo kung if your organization is also supporting you and the other employees, no? Especially during tough times. Pause to pray, listen to music, take me time, take a break. Okay, being positive and other healthy coping mechanisms. May iba na nagsabi bike na nag-exercise din sila. Ayan, so relaxation techniques. So again, there is no one perfect way to stay mentally healthy. We can suggest so much here, but at the end of the day, what is it that works for you? Right? Ano yung nakakatulong sa'yo? Kasi baka sasabihin ko exercise, but mas nasa-stress ka kapag nag-iisip ka na, oh, I need to exercise, no? Mas nasa-stress ka. But if it works for you to take short breaks or break or take your wellness leave, that's fine, no? Yan. So, marami sa sagot ninyo yung alam na ninyo kung ano yung nakakatulong sa inyo. So, ito siguro yung next. While you're in Mentimeter, I change the question. Paano nyo nalalaman kapag nasa stress na kayo? At yun yung ginagawa ninyo to stay mentally healthy. So, paano nyo nalalaman kapag stress kayo? Ayan. So again, word cloud ito. Baka iba-iba din yung mga sagot ninyo, no? But may iba na hair loss, tight chest, change in behavior. Maraming sumagot na may headache, palpitation, can't focus, heavy feelings, stress eating, no? Tight feeling in the shoulders, headache. Maraming nagsasabi na headache. So, yung top natin, nalalaman nila kapag stress sila ay headache, stress eating, hindi nakakatulog, back pains, irritable, hair loss. Ayan, medyo marami. Having panic attacks, biglang iiyak. Sige, let's wait for more. Paano nyo ba nalalaman kapag stress na kayo? Ano yung warning signs? Want to be alone, wants to shout and scream, di na inspired sa ginagawa. Ako before, naalala ko, nalaman ko na burnout, but hindi siya physical. Nagiging irritable na rin ako at maraming headaches or migraines. No? Parang halos every other day may migraines. Unfocused towards work, wala nang gana. Lutang, no? Quiet quitting, yun yung sinasabi nila. Difficulty concentrating, unfocused, hair loss. So these are the different warning signs. May nakita akong breakouts, nagkaka-pimples due to stress. No? These are the warning signs. Well, common kasi marami sa inyo medyo pareho-pareho, no? Breakouts, migraine, walang gana, stress eating, hindi nakakatulog. Common ito na kapag stressed na, ito na yung nangyayari. Okay? So, it's important. This question is important because the first step really, the first step really is to know. Notice your warning signs. So do not wait until burned out na kayo, no? Before you take your wellness leave or before you take a pause. So many people only respond kasi when they are already overwhelmed, when they are already burned out, when they're already angry at may nasigawan na sila sa work, no? Or nagkasakit na sila. And participants need to identify, or like employees need to identify personal signs. Notice your early warning signs, such as being irritable. Hindi ka na ba nakakatulog? May racing thoughts ka ba about work? Ay, nako, ayoko na. Ang daming trabaho, ayoko ng katrabaho ko, ayoko ng boss ko, etc., etc. Do you dream about your work and you're being stressed about it? Difficulty concentrating, withdrawal or isolation. Do you isolate from your team? Na ayoko makipag-lunch with them ngayon. Or like, uuwi na ako lunch break, tapos babalik na lang ako later. Kung malapit lang yung work, no? Emotional numbness, wala ka nang nafe-feel. And ito, interesting to, constant urgency. Parang survival mode, fight or flight. Lahat i-prioritize, lahat kailangan gawin na. So that's also a warning sign that you are stressed. And that is the first step to really knowing, that, oh no, I need to take care of myself. I need to stop. I need to check with myself and to pause. No? So know your warning signs. And if your warning signs show up, okay, do what helps you to manage your stressors. Kagaya ng mga naisulat nyo kanina, no? But wag muna mag-resign. May nagsulat kasi kanina na resign. But once the warning signs are there, early warning signs, don't wait for burnout. Do your healthy coping strategies that works for you. Okay? But also, aside from noticing, focus on what you can control. Sabi ko kanina, times of uncertainty pulls our attention towards what we cannot predict, right? Times of uncertainty makes us focus on something that is uncontrollable now. Oh my gosh, we feel helpless because things are uncontrollable in our lives. Okay? So helplessness and hopelessness yung lumalabas dyan kapag we always are faced with uncertainty, no, and lack of control. Grounding becomes becomes very important. Okay? Grounding ourselves to what we can control, what is here and now, what we can decide on right now is very important. Okay? Focus on what can be controlled in your life. Try this simple reset. Ask yourself, what is in my control today? Ano yung nakokontrol ko today? Yung schedule ko? Kung paano ko i-prioritize yung mga bagay-bagay? Kung ano yung kakainin ko for lunch? Kung sino yung kakausapin ko? Yan. Nasa control mo ba yan today? No? Ano yung gagawin nyo after ng webinar na ito? No? Yan yung nakokontrol ninyo. What needs attention now? Ano yung kailangan ko tuunan ng pansin sa ngayon? No? If you're feeling panicky, do you need to breathe right now? Breathe slowly, take a pause. No? Ask yourself what can wait. Ano sa mga to-do list ko yung pwede pang maghintay ng konti? Hindi naman siya priority na kailangan ko tapusin today. Although maganda kapag tapusin ko today, pero hindi naman kailangan. Who can support me right now? Okay? Focus on yourself, your strengths, and what you can do. So, a time of reflection, what are your strengths? What can you do right now? What is in your control right now and today when it comes to work or personal life? Okay? Ayan, may nag-share sa ating chat box, no? A good mental reset can be writing down everything on your mind for 5 minutes. Focus on one task instead of multitasking. Okay? I was told before, ang dami ko kasing iniisip, randomly, ang dami, and I couldn't sleep. Like, mga 4 a.m. na ako nakakatulog kasi ang dami kong naiisip talaga. It's not naman about work. Siguro trentahin na. So, ang dami kong gustong gawin na kulang pa or sa work, ang daming iniisip or sa friends. Um, ang sabi sa akin ng therapist ko, take 5 minutes, whatever Johnny said no, in the chat box. Wala kang time limit eh. Parang in the morning, write down whatever you are thinking, all your thoughts, uh, in a piece of paper. Yan. So, or sa notebook. Fill up a page in the notebook of everything that you're thinking. Pero one page lang. So, yung tawag doon, one page a day. I know maraming gumagawa din nun, no? I think I I read somewhere that Taylor Swift does that. Now she writes in her notes whatever comes to mind. Any lyrics, any experience, yun, lahat pinapasok niya dun sa notebook or notes niya. So, it's a good emotional reset. Tama ka, Johnny, no? To write down whatever is on your mind. In a notebook or in 5 minutes or for 5 minutes or before you sleep. No? Morning pages, ayan si Gavi, morning pages is also called that, or one page a day, parang ganon. May mga iba-iba siyang pangalan, but maybe you can try that out. So Anna from the chat box also, Anna, yeah, she said, I do a brain dump by writing everything that I have on my mind. Yes. It's so, parang sometimes it's satisfying to just let go of everything that you're thinking of, no? So aside from that, it's really thinking, what are my strengths? What can I do today? What is in my control today? What do I want to eat? What do I want to do? Yun. Rather than focusing on the things that you cannot control. Lalo na yung ibang tao na hindi nyo makokontrol din. Diba? Alright. So aside from taking care of yourself, knowing the warning signs of you being stressed and focusing on what you can control, work on smaller and clearer units. Okay? Define the next most important task. Okay? What is the most important task na kailangan mong gawin? And then set a 20-minute focus block. So, ito yung sinatawag nilang Pomodoro technique, no? But it doesn't work for everyone. You can try it. Some would increase it to 30 minutes, some would do 15 minutes, whatever works for you. But yung gist dito kasi is to break down what we need to do. Okay? Finish one meaningful action before switching to another thing and reduce decision fatigue by planning the day early. So again, ako, nakikita ko to sa mga Instagram, TikTok, no? Maraming nagsasuggest din nito. But it really depends on you and what works for you. What I do is yung quadrants, what is important, urgent but unimportant, important but not urgent. So that works for me. But again, it depends on you what works for you. But the importance here, the important thing to remember is we get so overwhelmed if we focus on the big picture na parang, oh, I need to submit this big proposal by this week, you know. And sometimes we become, parang mental blackout tayo. We don't know what to do first. So what can be done is just write down the skeleton. What do you need to do step by step, no? Or what's the problem? Is it within your control? Is it outside of your control? No? Or, and then what are the steps that is within your control that you can do to solve that problem or to reach that goal? Okay? And use boundaries as a performance tool because it preserves your energy and clarity. Protect the real lunch break. Okay, if lunch break, lunch break. Block focus time. So this is my time to just work, no? Lalo na kapag you work from home. Set response time expectations. So you can put in your email that I will be responding to you within 2 to 3 days. Depende kung ano yung response time expectation na you think you can do. Log off more intentionally. Avoid carrying every problem alone. That's why you need to stay connected. Okay? Reach out early. Ask for clarification. Reach out to your boss early, or even if you are a leader, reach out to your employees early. Ask for clarification. Use peer support. Naming when capacity is stretched. No? Communicating when capacity is stretched. Seeking professional help when needed. Because pressure often leads people to isolate, which usually makes things harder. Kaya napakahalaga ng staying connected or even checking in with your colleague to stay connected with each other. Okay? Build recovery into the rhythm of work. So these are simple recovery practices. Stay away between meetings, no? After one meeting, do a lap around your office, no? Breathe before difficult conversations. Take micro breaks. Move your body during the day. I worked with an organization na parang may time of the day na they had to stand up and stretch. Create an end of the day shutdown routine. How do you shut down your computer and yourself by the end of the day? Sustainable performance kasi requires recovery and not just endurance. Even athletes would attest to this, no? That recovery day, or if you run, I saw people who said in the to stay mentally healthy, they run or they bike to be at their at most in their performance. Recovery day is as important as training day. So hindi lang endurance, make sure that you recover. All right? So here, if you have a piece of paper or if you have your phones or screenshot this, no, if you don't have time but write down in a piece of paper or your note one sign that you are under too much pressure right now in your organization or as a leader. One boundary that you would protect, that would protect your energy. One boundary that you can set that would protect your energy. And one support action you will use this week. So support action can be asking for help, no, or prioritizing, etc. So tatlo, okay? Write down one sign that you're under too much pressure, one boundary to protect your energy, and one support action you will use this week. Okay? Maybe someone can share that in the chat box. Who would want to share? So write down one sign that you are under too much pressure, a boundary that you would protect, and one support action you will use this week. So practical tayo. Maybe someone can share in the chat box or in the comment section if it's not too intrusive, no. But if you feel that you keep it to yourself, it's also okay. But make sure that you have written one sign, one boundary, and one support action that you will use this week. Ayan, si Gabby nagsabi sa chat box, sign of pressure for her is tight or tense shoulders. A boundary that would protect her energy is look away from the screen every how many number of hours, and support is talk with friends. Ayan. Yan yung gagawin niya this week. So maybe Kathy could check in with Gabby if she did this, no? Okay. All right. So, syempre, before we end, kailangan may practical ways din tayo na gagawin, no? Outside of this webinar, what are the things that we can do? So, use any 2 to 3 of these or reflect, no? Think about these questions. What is one thing our organization needs to be more honest about right now? What helps teams feel steady when the future feels unclear? What would healthier, more sustainable ways of working actually look like here? And what is one change we could make in the next 30 days? So choose 2 to 3 or two or three of these, no? And scan this QR code. Okay, I'll type in the chat box the link to our action planning. Ayan. So thank you so much, Kathy. Action planning document. So to do this, you would need to reflect first on the questions, which is in the first slide. And in the next 3 slides, just type in your answers, no, to the action plan. So let me just share. Okay, so use any of the 2 to 3 of these questions, and then you can write in anywhere. At the organization level, what do you need to do? As leaders, what you need to do? And as individuals, what do you need to do as you reflect on these questions? So please answer on the second, third, and fourth box. So just click in. I hope it can be editable. Editable ba siya?
Yes, I think some are already typing.
Ayan. Okay. Parang nahirapan sila. Ayan. You can insert a text box, or you can type in the chat box and then we can copy paste it. So again, you can insert text box para sabay-sabay. And this is challenging, no? Kasi nawala yung Jamboard. During the pandemic, I don't know if you can remember, Jamboard was very, very helpful. Kasi multiple users can just insert notes at the same time, no? Ngayon, parang ang hirap to do the slide. But we can try, no? So at the organization level, we need to keep them updated, use our sense of purpose. As leaders, we need to be short but meaningful, have short and meaningful huddles with subordinates. As individuals, we need to self-reflect. We need to maybe self-reflect areas we are falling behind and what support is needed to improve. So again, this is an action plan for you as an individual and as a leader. If you are a leader, reflect on these 2 questions, no? And maybe commit to what you need to do as an organization, as a leader, and as an individual in the next few weeks or months, so that you're even through the times of uncertainty, may nagagawa din tayo, no, to create a more enabling environment, a positive environment, an environment na even if it's challenging, our employees feel heard, feel involved, and know that they are being taken care of. Okay, so again, you can continue doing that. You can use this template, lalo na if you are working with a team. You can use the questions, the templates. You can do an action plan for your entire team, no, based on this. And then you can check in. Nagawa ba ito? Gusto ba natin gawin ito? Gusto ba natin i-commit yung kailangan nating i-commit para mas maging enabling yung environment natin. Ayan. So just let's take some time to check or to write down our answers for that, or type it in the chat box. You can do that as well. Sabi ni Johnny, when life feels uncertain, don't focus on fixing everything. Focus on the next helpful step. Small resets done consistently often create bigger changes than occasional major overhauls. Okay. All right. All right. So you can continue working on that, but we need to wrap up kasi 1 hour na rin. No? It's 4:20. As I mentioned, uncertain times test more than just the organization, the employees, just the strategy. They test the culture of the organization, the leadership, and the way people care for themselves and one another. We may not always be able to reduce uncertainty kasi it's bound to happen or it's outside of our control, but we can reduce confusion, isolation, and unnecessary pressures. That's why it's important to know the pressure points, to have clear communication, and to support one another. And when we do that well, no, we create teams that are not only more resilient, but healthier, more connected, and more sustainable over time. All right? So, there are a lot of insights then on the chat box. You may read that, no? Very, very good insights from other participants who have shared their experiences. And I'd like to invite everyone, if you want to build a healthier workplace, lalo na for those who answered none or fair doon sa survey, we have a 3-day mental health support training this July 29 to 31, in partnership with the Philippine Mental Health Association. It will be in their office, no? And this 3-day training, medyo jam-packed siya because it's about mental health literacy. You will be trained on suicide screening, no? And other screening for mental health issues. Again, screening siya, hindi siya assessment. And provide mental health first aid. So you will be also trained with mental health first aid and facilitate a evidence-based resilience intervention. And this resilience intervention has been studied and published then internationally, no? Very well, Filipino siya, made for Filipinos by Filipinos. Yon. So if you are in HR or if you are a nurse in a company or a social worker, this is a good training for you. But if this is not for you, there are other trainings available. So one is developing mental health policies and systems. Again, if you answered fair, and none doon sa survey, and you don't have a mental health policy, or you have a mental health policy but needs to be refined, this is the best workshop then for you. So here, leaders and HR teams can create a clearer, more practical approach to their mental health provisions and policies. A policy template can also be given. And on September, we will have a workshop on enabling psychosocial safety in the workplace. Okay, how do you do this? So this session is very for leaders, practical ways, no? But how do you actually do it? You can also attend this workshop na step by step, whole day ito, no? So don't forget to follow us if you are in need of workshops, trainings for mental health in the workplace, schools, and communities, LGUs. Follow us in our Facebook page, Renew Health. It looks like this. No? Send us an email, a message if you need anything, if you need to collaborate. Okay? So what I will leave with you, if you can scan this QR code, this is a mental health starter toolkit for those in HR or employees. No, again, that is for free. You can scan the QR code to access that mental health starter toolkit. And again, if you have any questions, clarifications, you can just message us at info@renewhealthph.com. Thank you so much. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them and listen to them. Gabby?
Yes, thank you so much, Doc Camille. Grabe yung pabaon mo sa amin this afternoon. We can see in the chat box that there are a lot of insights that were shared by our positive leaders, and I'm sure that they will also enroll in your courses so that they can know more on how they can support their employees' mental health and well-being. So, screenshot nyo muna yung pinakita ni Doc Camille so that you already have a copy. And we will proceed to a very quick Q&A. So I will just share my screen. Again, if you have any questions, kindly put them in our Pigeonhole. You can scan the QR code you can see on the screen, or you can just click on the link that Kathy shared in our chat box. And I think there's already some questions that came in. So yung copy ng presentation, we usually don't give out a copy of the presentation, but you may check out our YouTube channel that Kathy will be sharing. You can review the whole session there. So if you missed any points, pwede na kayong pumunta doon sa recording of our session this afternoon. Yan. Doc Camille, is there a question that's coming at you now? Oh, I want to answer this. But if it's the top voted one, I think there's two people who want this question to be answered. Does uncertainty create organizational problems, or they merely expose existing ones?
Yeah, and I think Gabby, I briefly
Yeah.
said something about this, no?
Yes.
Na actually well, walang one answer dito, no? It can create organizational problems, right? Lalo na kapag yung organization may way of doing things, pang status quo, tapos all of a sudden may uncertainty na nangyari, no? Their first time nila ma-face yon. But it can also be that there are existing organizational problems to begin with, and the uncertainty can parang unveil that, right? Oo. And pero I think there will be other, if you ask other people, they would say na syempre feeling nila meron na talagang existing ones, kaya nga natetest kapag may mangyayari, 'di ba?
True. And apart from exposing it, parang ma-exacerbate pa nga yung ano na yun, yung mga problems na yun when uncertainty comes in.
Yes.
And I think isa doon ay, how do we support the employees if the management or owners is uncertain too. So sometimes it's really the buy-in of the leadership or
Yeah.
management that's the problem.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes. So dito talaga nakikita din, na-unveil din kung what type of leadership or management there is in that organization, no? But who are you asking? Yung question na to kasi, who are you asking? Who is we? How
Mm.
do we support the employees? Who is we in this?
Feeling ko it's the HR kasi usually sila yung nasa gitna, 'di ba? Na we need to
Yeah,
support
yeah,
the
yeah.
employees, but when we ask for support in terms of resources or like kanina yung mga sinasabi mo na yung reasonable accommodations, if
Mm-mm.
management doesn't have the same mindset, parang
It's
paano
so hard
namin siya
then.
i-implement? Yeah.
Correct, correct,
Yeah.
correct. Um, yeah, if it's like the HR asking how do we
Yeah.
support the employees, that's where the four C's come in as well. So hindi lang siya for leaders eh. It's also like clarifying sa management, sa leaders, no? And to let them know and communicating with them that this is happening in our employee, di ba? With the organization, parang ito yung nangyayari para clear, no? What can we do collaboratively? But syempre, iba-iba yung organizations, may iba na hindi makikinig, na leaders, may iba na open naman. So, as HR, I think that's the challenge that the HR needs to undertake. Kasi, um, that's your role, to bridge the expectations of the management and the employees' well-being then, diba?
Yeah. So this is really tricky and at least meron tayong guide yung 4 C's na Doc
Mm,
Camille
mm.
shared. So please feel free to recall that. Hindi ko alam kung pwede kayong magkaroon ng conversation about the employees or maybe slowly introduce it to your leaders as well para
Mm.
makita nyo where are we really at right now in
Mm.
terms of supporting our people. Ayan. May nagtanong sa chat box dun sa free HR kit. So I think Kathy shared the link in the chat box.
Yeah.
Yeah, so in the interest of time, maybe we can answer one more question. And yung mga upvoted questions natin is, siguro pa ito pwede nating i-contextualize because there are teams that they really succeed even during crisis. Pero ang nagiging endpoint is nababurn out yung mga tao. Pero leadership sees it as, kaya nyo naman pala eh. So parang walang real change na nangyayari. And it becomes, I think there was a slide na we just normalize it as we move forward.
Yeah.
So what are steps that we can take so that we don't normalize this kind of mindset?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, one thing, I think it's really the leader who, yung sabi ko nga,
Yeah.
modeling, 'di ba? But sometimes, and this is the reality, na the more bibo you are, the more you can do things, the more ibibigay sa'yo. And totoo talaga yan, 'di ba? Wag na natin i-deny. Kasi,
Correct.
and in a way, reframing it, if ikaw yon, in a way, what helps is reframing it na the trust is there
Yes.
sa'yo, right? But how can you set boundaries? So one step is setting boundaries, no? And this is so, medyo hindi kasi siya, culturally, nahihirapan tayo to
That's
communicate.
true.
Di ba?
That's true.
Hindi tayo communicative as lalo na kung may power play, may hierarchy, 'di ba?
Yes.
But I think it's really important to learn how to communicate effectively. What are your needs? What are the support that needs the support that you need as an employee para hindi ka mag-burn out. And to be clear that I can do these things, I will do these things, but this is what I need. This is the support I need. This is, maybe I need to take a break after this. No, I'll
Yes.
do this really well. And then
Correct.
kailangan ko mag-leave siguro or take a break after this. So I think one is communication, because you can't set boundaries if you cannot communicate effectively. And one way to communicate effectively is to really use the I language na I think this, 'di ba? I think this is the effect na sa akin, this is I feel this, but also what I learned from my own parang my own mentor is come in with a solution. So if my problem, you
Mm.
don't say na, ma'am, may ganito kasing problema eh, 'di ba?
Mm-mm.
Um, it also trains the brain to think critically as an employee. So if you know that there's a problem, you raise it and suggest a solution. And if ayaw ng leader mo sa solution, at least you have that opening, yung communication nyo na line is open. And yung sa leader, iniisip niya na, oh, this needs to be talked about kasi may sinuggest na siya eh, di ba?
Mm.
Hindi lang whining, hindi lang,
Yeah,
may problema, ganyan.
that's true.
So, for me, that's a really practical skill that I learned from my mentor. And she didn't tell me about it. She modeled it.
Modeled it.
She
Yeah.
didn't tell me na, hey, give me a solution. Hindi. She modeled it. So that's what I really like. Um, Yun. Maybe you can try that out. No?
Yeah, so yun yung skills, the skills we need to
Mm-mm.
develop in the workplace. And kasama nun, Domil, parang naisip ko nga, kasi culturally, hindi tayo sanay because hindi natin alam paano magre-react yung kausap natin. So how do you handle the difficult emotions that come with communicating all of these boundaries or all of these, ano,
Yeah,
diba?
yeah. So,
Yeah.
well, there will be a lot of emotions that would come, lalo na kapag hindi ka sanay to communicate, and if you are the introverted, shy type, no? Or, di ba may mga type B, type A personalities, and that's really true, right?
Yeah.
So one thing is to acknowledge what you feel, no?
Yeah.
Like, having these conversations make me feel uncomfortable
Uncomfortable.
talaga, and I feel
Totoo.
uncomfortable, and just take a break or breathe, no? Or share it with your colleague who you trust na nahihirapan talaga ako to communicate. It's to acknowledge that there are uncomfortable emotions that come with it, and sometimes the only way out is through, no?
Yeah.
And you need to really experience it and to be to practice it para mawala din in a way, no?
Yeah.
Yon.
Yeah. Na-share ko lang yun kasi parang most of our clients, they know what to say. They know what to... O, parang may solution din sila in their head.
Yeah, but
But nauunahan sila nung takot na, ay, ito
takot.
kasi yung nararamdaman ko.
Yeah, correct. And there
Yeah.
are other ways of communicating, not only face to
Yeah.
face. So
Yeah,
ako
yeah.
before, I wasn't really a good communicator na face to face. So
Mm-mm.
what I would do is really write letters, or like write emails na mas kasi one, mas na-filter mo if kabado ka, takot ka, and face to face, minsan lumalabas yung kaba o defensiveness o anger. But
That's
when you write it down, after you write, take a pause, save it in a drafts, and go back to it tomorrow, and then see if it's the same, it's the same sentiments, same whatever, and you can edit it and send it again. So that's what's good about working right now. You have different ways to communicate: a text, Viber, email, right? A face-to-face. But syempre, nothing beats face-to-face. But if kabado, there are other ways.
Yes. And I love na you framed it as a skill. Na hindi siya
Mm-mm.
either or na you already have it. But it's a skill that you can prototype muna tayo ng sasabihin. And
Mm-mm.
then we iterate as we go.
Mm-mm.
Yes. So thank you, Doc Camille. I think that's the time that we have for Q&A because it's already 4:37. But thank you so much. I think madami na po kayong pabaon. And again, if you want to watch any portion of our webinar, please feel free to go to our YouTube channel so you can view the full session there. And to express our gratitude for accepting our invitation so that you can share your knowledge and expertise to our positive leaders. We are presenting you our certificate of appreciation. So just let me read the citation. So this certificate is issued to Camille Theresi Husay, PhD RSci, for generously providing their time and expertise as a resource speaker for the webinar The Human Side of Leadership, Supporting Teams During Uncertain Times, held on the 17th of May, 2026, signed by our Chief Enabling Officer, John Baluyot, and our Chief Wellbeing Officer, Nikki Vergara. Thank you so much, Doc Camille. Is there
Thank
any last
you.
message that you want to leave to our positive leaders this afternoon?
Yeah, I'd like to thank everyone for participating. Alam ko maraming switching tayo from Mentimeter to Google
Correct.
Slides, no? And I really appreciate your active participation. And I hope, and I know that I gave a lot of reflection questions rather than what to do, but I trust people know what to do. They just need to practice it. And also, I think rather than problem solving always, sometimes we need to also take a pause and reflect. That's why there are a lot of reflection questions for today. So if you find yourself in uncertainty or times of uncertainty, behaviors are changing, you can go back to those questions and ask yourself with curiosity and observation and empathy.
Yes, thank you so much, Doc Camille. Sana daw may part 2. Mag-enroll kayo sa courses ng Renew Health. So we're gonna share the Facebook page again so that you can follow them for announcements. And please take their time. Like, I think it's a very good investment, yung 3-day training nila on mental health literacy,
Yeah,
suicide.
Gabby was there before, right? Ay,
Yeah,
hindi.
we did. We
Yung sa
did, Cathy and
policy.
I. So I really vouch for their courses. Mag-attend kayo, guys. A very worthy investment. Okay, so heading on over, we hope to see you all next week, June 24, so that we can talk about selling in a crisis, practical moves for Filipino sales teams when budgets are tight. Because alam namin, kahit kami sa positive workplaces, ramdam na ramdam namin yung difficulty in selling, especially in the climate that we're in. So again, we're developing your skills so that we can address the problems that are happening in our workplaces. So now we are releasing our post-evaluation form so that you will be able to claim your e-certificate. Again, you can scan the QR codes you can see on the screen, or you can just click on the link that Cathy sent in our chat box. A few reminders, don't forget to check 10. Paki-check if tama yung title ng form na sinasagutan nyo. And as you type your email address and your name, please make sure that tama yung @gmail.com, tama yung letters, tama yung dots where they're supposed to be. And even in your names, please ensure that you type the correct name, because whatever you put in, yun po yung lalabas sa mga certificates natin. So again, thank you so much, everyone. And thank you, Doc Camille, for joining us this afternoon for our first June P webinar. Thank you so much, everyone. Bye, Doc. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
We'll, we'll give you a few minutes to take a screenshot or i-bookmark niyo yung links that Cathy shared on the screen. And before we end, we'd just love to invite you also to our leadership development series. On July 16, we have data storytelling and insighting. Ano ba yung data storytelling and insighting? So hindi ko alam kung meron sa nyong namomroblema because you have a lot of data. You know that there's information that very valuable, but you cannot communicate it in a way that people, your leaders, your teammates, they understand where you're coming from and why that particular data is important. Sometimes managers come to us para sabihin, ano ba naman itong mga empleyado namin? Parang nagre-report lang sa classroom because they do have data, they present it, but they don't know the context where the data is needed, saan ko gagamitin, ano yung possible decision points or solutions na pwede nating i-try out based on the data that we have. So we have Kevin, our Chief People Officer, who will teach you how do we use data so that we can form a story, get insights, and of course, provide solutions, provide possible action steps so that your data will be useful and at the same time, it will address your organization's problems at the moment or what your organization is trying to answer for that particular project or program. So it's going to be on July 16, 2026 from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. This is going to be on site. And if you are interested, the investment fee is 6,500. And if I'm not mistaken, 2,800 if you're from a government office. So you can just scan the QR code you can see on the screen, or just click on the link that Kathy shared in our chat box. After that, I'll leave this on for a few minutes. We're gonna close the Zoom room at 4:45. So again, click on the link, save nyo na po siya as a bookmark if hindi pa kayo makakasagot. Our links will be open until 5:15 this afternoon. Since we ended late, or we posted the evaluation forms late, take a screenshot, save it in your phone, and then kindly answer it before 5. So again, thank you so much, everyone, and we'll see you all next